this upcoming video and maybe some of the future ones here, I am giving this a shot. I am hoping that if you look in the lower right hand corner, I flip everything for classes, so right and left are difficult to me sometimes. If you look in the lower right hand corner, you ought to be able to see me talking to you. I'm not 100% sure that that is working, or if the microphone is working, or if you can see the screen, but we are going to give this a shot. So when we are working with files, do remember that a file in C++ works the same way that it does if we were to have a physical file in an, can I call it like an office setting. There is one copy of the file. That copy of the file has to go from function to function to function, or it has to go from employee to employee to employee, and there is no overlap, right? So when Susan from accounting needs your file, she has the one true copy of your file. Now, here's the problem. If Susan from accounting doesn't remember to relinquish control of that file, when she's done, she puts it on the pile with all of the other files over here, and they simply don't go back to where they're supposed to go. We have a problem that no other employee can get to your file. The same is true here in C++ when it comes to file management. So one of the things I really harp on here, and one of the things I think the book doesn't harp on enough, is to build your program in a way that you are opening the file. So that means your function has access to it. You are doing your file operations, and then you close the file so that another function out there has the ability to use that file. If you do not do that, you are going to create a situation where, as all of the different parts of a program are working simultaneously, you may not know that there are other functions out there that are looking to gain access to that file, and that is a huge problem. So open the file, do your file management, close the file, keep that flow going every time, and you will ensure that your file is able to be accessed by other member functions as is necessary. So here we can see that we have a little block of code. You can notice up at the very top on line number 2, we do need to include fstream. Fstream is for file stream. You take care of with fstream both the in file and the out file. Remember, out file is what you do to write out to a file. Every now and again, they do us a favor by naming it correctly. In file, that is where we open something to read from a file. Every now and again, they still do things correctly. Up here on line number 7, there's our upstream output file stream, and we call it output file here because I was being lazy, and because I just coded this little piece of code. That was more gentle than it should have been. So yes, absolutely, I suggest to you that you use a better output file name than output file. Here on line number 8, we are going to ingest 3 integers, and we are going to output them to our file. Line number 11, we are opening the file stream. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to delete my practice run file. So here on line number 11, what has to happen is C++ goes to a certain location. That certain location is by default whatever the root folder that this CPP is running excuse me, from. If not, you would have to give it a file path. If the program cannot locate numbers.txt, it will in fact create it. Now, when we run the program, notice when the file is created for view and for use over here on the left-hand side in our files column. Just keep an eye out for when numbers.txt appears. Here, through the middle of our program, 13 through 19, what we are going to do is enter in those numbers. I will admit to you, we probably could have done this with a loop, but I was going to save that for arrays. And here, we're writing to our file. We are output file, and then we have the same symbol, the same symbology as we would use for a C out statement, because C++ sees them in the same way. Whether or not we are outputting data to a file, or if we are outputting data over here to the output window, the operation feels the same to C++. So actually, we would do, the same in the way of management that we would do for the screen over to our file. So you'll notice that we have the end line here, because what we're looking for, in fact, is data to be separated by line, as opposed to everything just going on one line. And then, because I feel like I had to back this up, the output file dot close, because we want to make sure that as soon as we are done with our operation, that we are returning the file for access from other member functions. So we're going to go ahead and run this. Notice numbers.txt shows up immediately over there. And if we click on numbers.txt, there's nothing inside of it. So I'm going to go ahead and enter numbers here, 100, 200, and 300. Now, before we go anywhere, we haven't written to our file yet. So our file is still, in fact, empty. Now we go back over here to our output window. The numbers were saved to a file, and here they are. One thing I know that screws up a lot of people here in the beginning when you are working with files is there is going to be this trailing empty line. So if we were to go and build a for loop, or if we were to go and build a do-while loop that would count how many entries are in our file, this line, number 4, would in fact, show up as part of your count, unless you put a qualification in there. You say if line read from the file equals, and then just have, an empty set. That would say, okay, there's really nothing here in this file. So there we have it. We have outputting to a file. Remember, you need fstream for file stream. You would need to create an ofstream object. So ofstream is the data type, and then whatever our variable name here would be. We have to .open the file, and then inside of the parens is whatever the name of the file we are going to create is. And then do remember here down on line 2.9 to close the file as soon as you are done, so that we can return the file for other member functions.